Hey everybody, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Happy February. First leadership Zoom of the month. Super excited. It's payday and I'm watching the chat as everyone is putting in the bonuses that they've grabbed already. It's pretty stinking awesome. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy time. It's the time that it's time to run. Like, no excuses. Whatever fears you had, it's time to let those fears go, y'all, and run like you've never run before, because we've got the next 3 months to get to our highest rank possible, to grab some bonuses. And I can tell you they're pretty life changing. They're game changing. When they did these back in 2017, I cannot believe all the lives on our team that were changed. And already it has only been a month and we're already seeing so many people grab those. With that said, I am so excited. We have a great lineup as usual. This um, I'm starting to understand why we get almost 300 people on this every week. And you guys know my goal for this year is to get this Zoom to 500. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and over 100, 200 Ks we've been able to interview. And I think the reason it's become so stinking popular is because we get to hear not just the highs of that person's journey, but the struggles, and know that, you know what, we're going through those same kind of struggles, that we can get through them if someone else did it. And it is so cool every week to get on here and get the tips from the 200Ks that I've interviewed. And I'm super excited because today I have Theresa Williams on. And she is going to share her story and her tips today, and I cannot wait to hear it. Theresa, you have to unmute yourself.
Yep. Can you hear me
Yeah.
okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And I hope everybody can hear me okay, since I'm driving, because so it's not cutting out everywhere. So I would love to start with, like, I really want people to get a sense of who you are, because I mean, we are so blessed here at Lavelle. There are so many different 200Ks that you don't get to hear everyone's story. And that's why I love this Zoom every week, because we can kind of get to hear everybody's story. But what were you doing before you did network marketing? And then did you do any network marketing before Lavelle? Um, and were you like any good at it? And then how did you find Lavelle? And then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. So I have never been in network marketing before Lavelle. And I actually came out of a 27-year dental career. Definitely was not looking for a business opportunity at all. We've got 4 kids. I was already super busy doing all the mom things and working, 40 plus hours a week at my profession. And so I kind of stumbled on Thrive, honestly. No one jumped in my inbox or anything like that. I actually ran into it at the soccer field. I'm a soccer mom. And a good friend of mine, who is my upline, I saw her and she had this sticker thing on her arm, and I could just tell there was something different about her. And I'm like, girlfriend, like, what is going on with you? What is that thing on your arm? And so she said, listen, this stuff called Thrive. I've been using it for 7 days, and I kid you not, I feel flipping amazing. And so, and of course, just hearing what she said, just in that, just that little bit, made me think, man, I want some of what she's having. So it was just kind of one of those things. She didn't tell me the details about the product. She didn't tell me how to use the product. She didn't tell me anything except for how she was feeling. And so I went home, did some research of my own to just kind of figure out what it was. And I ordered as a customer. And I was like the godsend for her because she was in her bonus period. And I even ordered on auto ship because I figured out it was cheaper that way. So, and I figured out that I could get out of it. So that's how my journey started, was just simply by seeing a friend at the soccer field and noticing a difference in her. And so,
I love that. You
yeah.
guys, if you're at the soccer field, make sure your sticker's showing. Like, make sure your DFT is showing. So you started as a customer. How long did you stay a customer before you were like, okay, I need to like do this thing?
Literally it was 3 days. And remember, I said I definitely wasn't looking for anything. I didn't have time or anything like that. But my husband noticed such a difference in me that he wanted to start using it too. And God's honest truth, we were probably worse than budget to budget living. A family of 4 is pretty expensive. So I splurged on myself when I ordered it, and he wanted to start using it. So it was one of those things that I'm like, oh my goodness, he probably needs it worse than I do because the man lives on caffeine, but I don't want to not use it. So like, what am I going to do? And so I called my friend and I'm like, listen, I'm freaking out because I've got to figure out how to make this work. And she's like, well, you can thrive for free, and I'm like, no, I didn't know that. She didn't even tell me that. So it was one of those things that I figured out on a phone call, because she got me on a phone call to learn that there was really no difference in the two accounts, except one earned commission and one did not. So I thought, well, you know what, going into this, if I make 30 bucks on this, then it was $30 more than I had before, and I'm going to be thriving for free. So we're in the same situation as far as my husband's now thriving. I'm thriving for free, and we've got 30 bucks. So that's literally how my promoter, my experience started with the business.
Did you then just start going fast? Like, I kind of want to know your journey all the way to 200K. Like, what were the time spans in between each rank? And did you get your VIP bonuses and go 4K in 30 days?
Yep. Okay. So what happened for me is literally right after I pressed the promoter button, it was like 10 o'clock at night. I swear it was like 10 minutes later, and I got a message from actually someone that was three above me. And he said, hey, I just saw you press the promoter button. Have you had your welcome call? And I'm like, I told my husband, I'm like, there's a strange guy messaging me, telling me, about asking me about a welcome call. Like, what is happening here? And so I'm like, I need you to wake up and listen to this. And so I actually jumped on a welcome call. And, I told you that I was going to be thriving for free. I was going to find those two referrals. So he painted a vision for us that night about where this business could take us, and so just him planting that seed. And I'll tell you straight up that I probably wouldn't be where I am today had I not had that welcome call. And had I had not had it very quickly, let me say it like that, because I was excited. I'm in this window of opportunity where I want to tell everybody about it. And I'm an introvert. So like, that's what this product does for people. And we have to realize that it's a window of time, where people are in this 14 days. And so I was so happy that he did that, because I was still thinking like, yeah, but I don't really have time for that. And that's never going to happen for me. But my husband heard it, and he is my visionary. Like, he's like, oh, we can totally do this. Like, this is happening. And and so he was a huge support system for me right away. So I actually did hit my first and my second bonus. I literally started messaging people right away. I'm not an inbox type person, and I did not, jump in people's inboxes saying, "Hey, do you want to thrive?" That sort of thing. My messages were a little bit different. People knew me for who I was, which was an athlete. They know I've been a healthy person my whole life, and just kind of the life that I live. And so I told them, listen, I've been using this stuff for a few days now, and I kid you not, I feel like I'm in my 20s, and here I am in my 40s. So can I send you some information about it? I would send that late at night. In the morning, I'd wake up to all these yeses. And so that's how I started working my business and hitting my bonuses. So I'll be honest, after I hit my bonuses, I literally treated this business like a hobby. I did not treat it like a business until probably month 3. When I started treating it like a business, that's when big things started happening. I went 12K that month. And then after that, it was 40K and then 80K. I literally sat at 80K probably for a year though. I would make it to like 180 something every single month, but I was like that super organic person. And so I didn't hit 200K until it was actually probably my 17th month. And I literally haven't, ever since I've hit it, I've never dropped below that. So, and it just is just all based on duplication. So that's just kind of a little bit of how my journey went. Of course, we work my husband's business as well. So 18 months into this opportunity, kind of a bittersweet thing happened. My mom actually got very sick and went into the hospital. And here we had been living budget to budget, but of course I had been making more money with my Thrive business, if, spending small amounts of time on it a day versus my 40+ hour a week job. That I was able to afford to be with my mom as she was sick. And I actually hit 200K, and she literally passed away right after that. So the very valuable thing for me that I learned is that time is the most valuable thing that we have. And so I have always been driven by time, and the time and the memories I get to spend with my family. So that has always been my why because of that. So I don't lead by with money. I think money is awesome. I mean, I think that's what enables us to do the things that we like to do, and it's certainly enabled a lot of our team to do tons of things that they've get them where they're wanting to go, obviously. But without these products working the way that they do, we're never going to have that situation. So I have always been a huge product, lead by product, and be a product of the product kind of promoter. So I'm not like a boss babe. Like I don't ever promote myself as a boss babe. So because that's not me.
You know what as you're sharing, I was thinking about, a lot of people, we sign promoters every day, but it's all about signing the right promoter.
Mhm.
And you were the right promoter. I mean, who do you guys know in your life that's a healthy person, that people know that about them, they trust them, like, who do you know that is, driven? Like, those are the type of people that you want to, be prospecting, because they're the type of people that are going to do well in this kind of business. I mean, anybody can do well. I was a waitress and a bartender, and I was not healthy at the time, but when you historically look at your good promoters, they're people that people trust, because they
Mhm.
kind of know that that person's not full of crap. Like, if they say something, it's probably true, and it kind of just trusts them right out of the gate. Um, I want, how long have you been in now?
A little over 6 years.
6 years. Oh my gosh. So you started when there was like three products.
Mhm.
There wasn't a lot going on. Um, I mean, the main products, obviously, but it's crazy because people now, it's like, I cannot believe what you guys did just with the three steps and maybe what, Black Label or something. And now we have all of these amazing products. It's insane, just the growth that you've seen, and probably the people you've seen come and go too. And you know what, I think a lot of people think you get to 200K, it's smooth sailing, and it's just not. We hit all of these things. I mean, you may not have lost rank, but I'm sure your business has fluctuated.
Mhm.
I'm sure you have lost people in 6 years that you were like, they would never leave my team. Like, I'm sure you've seen those kind of things happen. And um, I just out of curiosity, like, does anything stick out to you? Struggles that you might have gone through, that you kind of had to work through?
Yeah, probably it was a couple of years ago, and I had a team that we had built kind of local to our area, because I built a lot locally first, just because we were like the event team. Like we had events all the time. And so, because I was like one of those people that as soon as somebody hit 4K, boom, we were there, having an event, and that was traveling. But locals, I did a lot of and mostly before people hit 4K. That's how we got them to 4K, was by gathering their group of friends together and creating this contagious energy. But I had built this 40K team in a local area, and I still to this day I can't tell you what happened. Most of them still use the product, but for whatever reason the whole team dropped off. And so they're probably like a 10. So those are kind of those crushing things. We all have those things where people, for whatever reason, things happen in their life, and this is just is not the path that they choose to take anymore. And it doesn't mean they're not ever going to come back to this path. And I have people that are on that team that still reach out to me, that still want to work their business. But there's things like that that happen along the way that we can't help. We have no idea what really happens in people's lives a lot of time. And a lot of times those are the things that make you feel unworthy as a leader, to be honest. It's like it's got to be something I did. Like, what did I do to did I do something to hurt their feelings? Was my leadership not good enough? What are the things that I could have done differently? And all we can do from that is just basically learn. I'm a student like every single day. I'm never going to be that person, and especially not that leader that knows everything, because I certainly don't. I plug into these Zooms and things because I want to learn something new. And even if it's not something new, I'm listening to it in a different way. And sometimes it's things that I may have learned 6 years ago, but gosh, did I ever need that refresher? And so I'm really big on keeping those things at the forefront so that we can continue to fill our cup with those positive things that are happening.
Sorry, I was talking and muted. I love when that happens. Do you ever feel like at any point in your business, or have you fallen into a management mode place where kind of like, okay, wait, my PPA isn't great right now, and or balancing, it's a balancing act. Like, I've got to help my team, but then, okay, now I'm not working my personal business. Or have you seen other people fall into that? And like, I guess my question is like, people under you, when you're over a large organization, you kind of get to see where people make mistakes, where they could have maybe done better, or where you start to see them kind of go in the opposite direction. What are some tips you have, or some things that you have in that, with that scenario?
I think going into the micromanaging mode is just a part of being a leader. No matter what rank you are, you're trying to kind of put your finger on every single person to try to make sure everyone's on the same page, and do kind of the same things that you did to get where you're going. And to be honest with you, I've had lots of things along the way that people do differently than I do. And that was a big deal for me as a leader, to realize that it's not wrong if they do it in a different way. It's just different. And maybe that different way works for them versus how it's worked for me. And so micromanaging can be paralyzing. I mean, definitely paralyzing. And so when you get into that mode, then that's when you're going to start seeing your PPA go down, because you're so consumed with why things aren't happening with them that you're forgetting that all of your energy is going there instead of working your own business. And so I've done a lot of that over the last 2 years, where I've just kind of, I have a lot of tremendous leaders on my team though as well. I think we have five 200Ks on our team that are tremendous leaders. And so they're over there doing their thing. And I'm like, and I'll be honest, for me, it was like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? Because they're all kind of leading their teams. So, like, where does that leave me? So, what is it I'm supposed to be doing? To be supportive with them, but to also let them lead their own way. And so that was a big deal for me as a leader, to kind of figure out where my place was, as weird as that may sound. But so I did a lot of self-reflection. I'm really big into self-development and reflection. And I just decided that for me, the biggest thing I can do for my team is be the example. And that means doing your IPAs, doing all the things, your non-negotiables every single day, and showing up and being supportive. And that's a big deal for people, when they're hosting a Zoom, or they're hosting a call, or they're, whatever it is they're doing, I'm filling my own cup, but I'm also being supportive in that way. So a lot of things that I see happen with teams is they stop. I mean, they stop doing all of those things that they used to do to get them where they are in the first place. And maybe it's because they feel like they kind of already know everything, or they don't feel like they're going to learn anything from a Zoom, or they don't feel like, there's any reason for them to be on it, because they I don't know, maybe they think it's a waste of time or what have you. I know when the quarantine happened, I did work with me Zooms like every single day. And it was a soul crusher at times, because there were 3 people on it, or there were 5 people on it, And so that was one of those times where I'm like, man, am I beating my head against the wall here, because there's like 3 people on my Zoom today. But after a while, after having 5 to 7 of those a week, I mean, I get it and I understand it. But at any rate, it's statistics. So the people that want to show up are going to always show up, and so those are just, kind of some different things. But definitely plugging in is something that is always going to be a game changer. My husband used to do an analogy about, plugging in a hair dryer. Like, the air is not going to blow out the same if you have it unplugged. So you have to you have to be plugged in and create that positive energy all the way around.
Yeah, I agree. I think people just start to separate themselves. Actually, that's a good question. What do you do? I actually had this question in my inbox this week. I have a leader on my team that's kind of like, I cannot get this leader to join in. Like, she's separating her team, and she's not plugging in, and she's kind of isolating. I had Billy Holder be on one of these Tuesday Zooms, and he had said he thinks that's probably the biggest mistake, the biggest thing that a person can do to make their business really go downhill, is when you start to isolate. When you kind of think you're the only leader, and No one needs to hear from anyone else. But I do get, as you're climbing the ladder, you kind of want people to plug into you. And I've been where you are before, where I was kind of like, what do I do?
Mhm.
I have all these 200Ks. What's my place? So I totally get where you're coming from there. But what have you seen people do that on your team, like kind of isolate? And what did you do?
I think it happens. I think it happens, more often than than we think it does, and sometimes maybe we don't even realize that that's what's happening. But I mean, all I can do is continue to do the things that I know to do, and I've let it affect me a few times where I've kind of stopped doing what I know to do, and just kind of let everybody do their own thing, and that just doesn't work, So I've been a big believer that when you create a community, the community is everybody. It's not segregated places or segregated people or segregated groups of people. We got here together and we're always going to be stronger together. But I can't make people do things, and so it's just one of those things that as long as you're continuing to create those opportunities for people, then they understand that it's community. And I know when I first started, a lot of what I did as a leader, and this is harder as you get bigger, but a lot of what I just kind of touched everybody. If somebody signed up as a new promoter, and honestly, I contribute that to a huge part of my success in the beginning is I touched them all. Like I would reach as soon as I saw somebody signed up as a promoter, I would message and introduce myself, and say, hi, my name is Theresa. I'm so excited you're here. I even saw one had only ordered 2 steps, and I said, hey, can I ask why you only ordered 2 steps? And she was like, yeah, my upline told me that the lifestyle mix tastes like crap, so I didn't order it. And I'm like, holy heavens, like, can I send you $40 and help you grab that lifestyle mix? And sure enough, that very team was the team that helped me hit 12K, because their leader had told them something completely different. And that happens a lot of times. And so if there's one piece of advice I would have for that is to don't worry about the eggshells, because you never know who you're reaching out to, if maybe you're going to have an impact on them in a different way. And it's not that you're better than their leader, because you're not. It's just they're hearing it, in a different way. So never be scared to bypass people, to just drop in and say hello or touch somebody. So I know that happened for me as I was hitting 12K. I had people reaching up or reaching down for me, gosh, from level 7 and 8, saying, oh my gosh, you can do this, so excited for you. You're almost to hit 12K. And to this day, I can tell you, it gives me chills, because that was so impactful for me. So touching all the people is a very big deal, because they feel like, man, this person, here she is up here. Because even though you don't see yourself as up there, they're all looking at you like up here, and we're all here, right? We're all equal. But because you took the time to reach out and say something, that is like very impactful for people. So that's definitely one thing that I recommend doing for people is reaching, reach down. Don't wait till people reach up, reach down.
You have given such good tips about, like, I hope people are really paying attention and taking notes, because honestly, it's insane how good, like the welcome call. Hello, like that's how you got motivated. That's what started your business. Then you've got the fact that you just said, reach down. Like if somebody new signs, I'm the same way. And I attribute a lot of my success to that as well. Every single time a new person signed, probably till 40K, like, it was totally doable for me to make sure that I was in there. Like, and then after that, it was like, look, if you sign somebody, get me in a message. Like, that those things are the little keys. I mean, them seeing, I can reach out to this other person. It's okay to do that. They're not intimidated, but also getting that like recognition and support right away is so huge. Okay, so man, you've been in a while. Like, I'm sure your network is probably exhausted as far as your warm market. And yeah, of course, you get the occasional people that come in that you're like, whoa, what just happened? She's been my friend for 8,000 years and she finally wants to join me. But besides that, you have to continue to grow your network. What do you do to grow your network?
Well, a lot of what I do is first of all, you have to realize you have a lot of networks. Okay. Life is about networking. And so I have networks at the soccer field. I have networks at the baseball field. I have networks at the high school. I have networks at the middle school. We all have different networks of people. So part of it is understanding that each of those is a different network. And every single one of those people is like a branch on a tree that branches out to a whole lot of other people. Right. And so a lot of it is just understanding, all of the networks that you have around you. I get some people sometimes, and I do a welcome call, and they're like, yeah, but like I work from home and I really don't, and I'm like, yeah, me too. So, but I leave my house sometimes to go places. But even if I didn't, gosh, that's how I grew teams that were far away, is we have this really cool thing called social media. And so the more you add people and add contacts and do conscious comments and things like that, the more you're going to grow your network. And so a lot of it is just that, we're posting on Facebook every day, to really do that, to grow our network, right? And so, what are we doing with the people that are commenting and liking or loving your post? Are we going back in and are we commenting on things of theirs so that they continue to see the things that we're posting? And so that's a lot of how I grow my network, is just basic relationship building. I have people from the soccer team that message me and find me on Facebook. It's not like I'm going up to them and saying, hey, have you ever heard of this stuff called Thrive? Like, that's just not how I've ever ran my business. I've always done it relationship wise, because I want people to trust who I am, and then go from there, because people are always going to buy you first. That's just statistics, like as far as how that goes. And I know probably a lot of you have seen the statistics floating around, where people don't continue to build relationships. If you reach out to somebody about your product or what have you, about 40% of the time, people don't ever reach back out, and so a lot of decisions are made on like the 8th to 12th try, and a reach out isn't thrive, 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 thrive. A reach out is, hey, how's your son doing? I saw you had a baseball game last night, or, whatever. So it's not always going to be about my 3 products, so it's going to be about relationship building in general.
Yeah, I think as soon as people understand that, and I think most people are starting to get it, but it's not the salesy posts don't work anymore. And being in somebody's inbox, that you barely know, saying join my team just doesn't work. Like, you've got to create those relationships. You have to. It has to happen. Um, so what do you do with new people? Like, let's say I'm in because I'm really huge on the way you bring somebody in is so important. And I think that the reason why so many people quit so quickly is because we overpromise and underdeliver instead of doing the opposite. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you're not making, oh my gosh, you're going to come in, you're going to grab these bonuses. It's so easy. I'll do it for you. Those are just some of the things that I hear people say. And none of that's true. This is work. It's going to take effort. And, whether you want to come in and work at 5 minutes a day or 5 hours a day, that's up to you. But it's going to take consistency and effort. And as well as I do, Teresa, that a lot of people don't get the VIP bonuses. They just don't. That's not easy to do, especially if you've never networked before, or you don't have friends and family that just take your word for stuff. And most of us don't. Most of us, what we find is our friends and family end up coming in last. If we don't have that rapport with them. So when you are bringing in a brand new person, what steps do you walk them through? And then, obviously we want them to get the VIP bonuses. They may not, but what do you do to kind of navigate that to help them, if, try to get them? Yeah, take us through that process.
Yeah. Okay, so I already told you about the welcome call. That is like one of the biggest things to me, and I know some people do Messenger, and that's fine too. I just always find, for me personally, just because that's how I was born from a welcome call, so that's just how I teach. I feel like, I don't know. That's just a better alternative for me in general. It works better for me. So, but there are things now, that are available that were not necessarily available when I started. There is the training bot, the 14-day training bot that Maria has. So I literally have that in our team page. I also use her 24-hour, or her call. welcoming to the boot camp call that she has. So a lot of times I'll send that prior to them even jumping on the welcome call with my upline. Okay. And then that way everything is kind of a refresher, because if you guys, you do welcome calls and then you're explaining these bonuses to them and they're over here going, trying to figure this out, and you're trying not to overwhelm them, then it's kind of a refresher. Followed up with the bot, which they can do, on their own and go back to it, that sort of thing. It kind of gives them those steps. So I am really big on posting on social media, welcoming them. I get the permission to do that, and I tag the 4 uplines that are there for, and then I make sure that they friend request those 4. To me, that is that was my source of understanding who my uplines were. For me, community is everything. So getting them to understand that they don't only have me, but they have these other people that are above me. I get them added to our page, our team page. There's also a pinned announcement in there that's just basically kind of going over a little bit of an overview of our page, and just get them, into the community and get involved right away. Like I said, community is everything for me. I've seen a lot of people walk in the door and they feel like they're kind of standing there alone. So then they kind of walk back out the door. So for me, what you have in your pages, those sorts of things. And even if it's a chat that you're doing, a chat is a big deal, because, if you have people in there that are creating that excitement and are just as excited with them, as they are, then you hit the ground running. I help them do their first post. And as they're sending messages, a lot of times, because this is what happened with me, is I would send my message that I was going to send out to my upline and say, here, what do you think about this message? And it was completely okay with whatever they said back, because I honestly had no idea what to say. I had never done network marketing before. So all of a sudden, I didn't want to send out a whole bunch of messages to people and then figure out that I was actually killing the deal just with the message that I was sending. So a lot of times, that's what I spend my time doing, is having them, they'll send me what they said back, and then I'm helping coach them on what to respond with in that. And of course, the result is that I'm trying to get them, to get them on a 3-way call. So just basically holding their hand to walk them through that first process, and to let them know above all else that networking is building a network. So building that customer list is huge. So I always kind of give them a goal in their first 7 days, and then in their first 14 days. I still live by the 100 free accounts in 30 days. That's what I was always taught in the beginning. I tell everybody to think of it like this: like, you just got a brand new phone and you have 0 contacts in your phone. I need you to put all the contacts in your phone. That's your network list. That's your customer list. That's your free accounts. And so I give them that analogy. I talk to them about making lists of people, lists of people that are possible promoters, lists of people that are possible customers. And I always let them know they're going to be completely wrong about their list, because I would have been the last kid on the playground that was picked to be a promoter. And here I am. So I always tell them anybody can do this. If I can do this, trust me, anybody can do this. So
What's so crazy is the best promoters underneath of me, and you probably can say the same thing. They were people that would have been picked last to be a promoter. They were the
That's so
people.
loud.
Oh, sorry, hold on. Somebody's unmuted. They were the people that they kind of, you would have never thought of them, or they thought that they weren't going to be good at this, or they watched forever. And I think that, I look at the people that have signed with me, and they never liked one post. They never messaged me. It was crazy. Like, I didn't even know they were watching. What do you do personally? Like, income producing activities every day. Like, what does your personal schedule look like? Like, these are non-negotiables and I'm going to do it every day.
My schedule is pretty fluid, because we watch my grandson, who is 18 months old. And so I have time. So it gives me that I'm allowed to do that now. So my non-negotiables are pretty strict and structured. Like, I wake up every day, I do my posts on social media, I do, or my story posts. Those kind of vary as far as which one of those I do first. I do my reach outs. A lot of my reach outs I can do 5 reach outs while I'm laying in bed in the morning, like while I'm waiting for my capsules to kick in, to be honest with you. So I check my birthdays first thing. Those are a lot of my reach outs, asking the question. My thrivers, I'll post something on their wall or whatever. If they're not my thrivers or they're my potentials, then of course I'm going to go into their inbox and I'm going to ask them a question. I learned a long time ago that asking a question demands an answer. So I never make statements. I ask questions whenever I send messages. So that's part of my non-negotiable. I self-develop every single day. I'm an exercise person, so I make sure that I spend that time and do a lot of my self-development during that, actually. So and follow-ups, I go through my cloud office every single day. I go through reports every single day. The rate of your run is something that I do every day to kind of figure out where I'm at and where I'm going for the month. And then I start looking at reports to see who's, same thing with other people, as far as where their numbers are and where they can go. So those are my things that I do every day. Reach out to, reach below every single day to different people. I don't reach out to the same people every day. A lot of the things I do, people never even know I do. And that's the thing about IPAs is a lot of people think you're running your business just based on the things that you do on social media. And really you do more IPAs in other ways versus just posting on social media. So a lot of the things I do, people don't even understand that I do. So, but those are the basic things. And then I find things to plug into, positivity wise.
Right. And when I was thinking about like my day, it's basically more reaching out and following up, reaching out, following up. Sorry, phone, somebody tried to call. Reaching up, following up is like mostly what I'm doing for my personal business. And I was curious about follow-up with you. Like, I had this question the other day, so it's kind of on my mind, and I thought, "Let me ask you." Do you have, like, a rule when it comes to you get that person in your inbox, and they're asking you about it, and they seem super interested, then they kinda go quiet, and then, Lavelle announces a bonus or a new product. Like, at what point do you feel like there's a point where you're like, okay, I'm just not going to message this person anymore? Or do you have kind of a rule with your follow up?
It's not really, I don't necessarily have a rule per se. It depends on how the conversation was left, I suppose. As far as, and I'm also a calendar person because that's how I came in, is writing things down. I'm very big on my squares being full of names at the end of every day. So a lot of my follow-ups will move from, one week to the following week or then to the following month. So it's just basically who's on my list to follow up with. Whenever they drop something like this, if it's somebody that's in my potential, promoter column, then of course I'm going to message them and say, hey, I know, last time we spoke, this is where you were with it, but I want you to know that, they've just dropped this tremendous opportunity. Can I send you some more information about it? So, so I don't necessarily have a time frame as far as, when I'm going to. I'm not a person that's going to knock down somebody's door, 5 times in the same month or anything crazy like that, just because I think that's a lot, that's overkill. But I drop them in my calendar once a month as far as that, that goes. Unless, like I said, there's a promotion or if there's, a special, I'll send a message asking like, hey, did you get the email about the special the company just launched with the free shipping for the weekend? Question mark. I just always ask questions like that. And that's a lot of the follow-ups that I do. And they give us so many opportunities to do that, especially since they're always running a promotion, right? I mean, like we always have something. They're so generous and are always trying to give us different ways to grow. So those are a lot of times what I do is just send them, ask them if they got the message or did they get the email.
What about customer wise, current customers? Do you have a system that you use to follow up with those and, making sure that they're staying on auto ship and thriving for free, like helping them thrive for free? Do you have any tips on that?
Yep. Current customers, what I do is I touch them at least a week before they're auto shipped to see how things are going, to see if they want to add any kind of plus lines or just basically overall like how they're doing. And I'm big on using my credits to keep customers. So a lot of times if their auto ship is over, $100 or over $150, then I'll send them $15 for free shipping or what have you. So I'm big on using some of my credits for that. And of course, if they, as far as thriving for free goes, I always plant the seed for that. Some of my people, I mean, I have people that have lost 100 pounds that are a customer and will not tell a soul that they are a thriver. And so we all have those people, and I'm just thankful that they're doing as well as they are. And so, because maybe one day they will, maybe they'll be that promoter, because goodness, they've definitely got before and after pictures. But I always plant the seed for that. I always give initiative for that. A lot of times I'll give credits if they want to, give a few referrals, that sort of thing. So I try to work with them in that way, just to give them different opportunities to help them thrive for free, because it's uncomfortable for a lot of people. I think that's one of the biggest questions I get, was like, well, how do you get your people to thrive for free? Because my people don't want to budge on that, because it's uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for some of us in the beginning to post about a product, because we had never done network marketing. So for them, it's the same kind of thing. So I just kind of give them different ways. And sometimes I'll say, hey, do you have any friends that are, tired and exhausted, or always complaining about, needing coffee, or, whatever it is. And they're like, yes, I have several. I'm like, well, do you want me to talk to them? Like, if you want to give me their names or what have you, I can give you an idea. I can message them and say, hey, Jessica's really loving her Thrive experience, and she thought that maybe, you would like to experience the product as well. And then I can kind of see where it wants to go. And then a lot of times they'll say, well, what is it? Because this person has never even told them anything about it. So they're comfortable with me doing it. They're not comfortable with themselves doing it. So I just give them that opportunity to, to do the work for them.
I love that. And I mean, I think it's just keeping in touch with them, letting them know, but not being forceful, and knowing that they're a customer. They don't really know what to say to thrive for free. So you kind of got to step in there and help out, at least offer helping out, so that they know, look, I can do the work for you. Just kind of get some people interested. I can take it from there. You touched on this a little bit, but I can't seem to make my team understand how important third party credibility is. Three-way messages, three-way calls. Um, and you've mentioned it several times, but when do you feel like is the right time? I get this question a lot too. When do you feel is the right time to get someone, whether it be a customer prospect or a promoter prospect, into a message with someone else?
For me, it's when they ask a question. I always use that because I've got 4 kids and a grandson. So I am always busy. So they ask me a question. I'm like, you know what? That's a great question. I'm running out the door to soccer. Do you have some time to chat at 5 o'clock? And so, of course, they'll be like, well, yeah, I can chat at 5 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, cool, because it's going to go so much faster then. And so, most of the time, and I felt really weird about this in the beginning, just because I had an upline, or I had a person that's below me that used to do this to me all the time. And I would be in like freak out mode, because she would never tell them I was going to be on the phone. And I was always like, I had hives, because I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are going to be so mad at me because they don't even know I'm on the phone. Not one time has anybody ever been mad. And it's because of the way she presented it, and it was one of those things where she's like, you know what, you asked a question earlier. I respect your time, and I want to make sure we get all of your questions answered. So I brought my friend on. She's going to, help answer your questions. And she's actually going to tell you a little bit about her story too. And so by the end of the call, half of the time, these people are signing up to be either a customer or promoter, just because they heard that third party validation. So I never say, hey, I'm going to get my upline on the phone, or, hey, do you have, can I get somebody else on the phone with you? Like, we never kind of approach it that way. We just do it in that manner that we're respecting their time. So we actually got somebody else on the phone to help answer the questions for you, because I might not know the answer. And so, and I
It's like
still
a
use that
million
verbiage.
dollar tip. That's a million
So
dollar tip, because here's the thing. People are so nervous to do it. And a lot of them get rejected because it's the way they're doing it. I have never, just like you, I have never one time said, hey, first of all, people that never been in network marketing do not know what an upline is.
mhm.
Okay. So the verbiage people use too is we've got to learn verbiage, but I don't ask. I just do it,
Mhm.
because again, if somebody was in a message with me and said, oh, do you care if I put you on the phone with my friend? I would be like, yeah. No, I don't know her. I don't want to talk to your friend. I don't know. Like that would, but if somebody just did it, I would have no time to really think either way, and I would soon find how comfortable it was. It's not an uncomfortable situation. And you're totally right. I mean, make sure that your upline knows that you're about to do this, right? Like
Yes.
the worst thing you can do, I hate when people don't ask me and they go put me in a message with somebody and I'm like literally not free for 4 hours. Like that person is sitting in that message and it just looks so bad because it's taking me 4 hours to get to it. Or give your upline background information. Who is this person? What are they about? What are their fears or concerns? And that's one of the things I like to find out before I people put people in a three-way message. What's holding you back? On a scale of 1 to 10, one being I don't want to do this at all, to 10 being I'm ready to get started with you right now. Where are you at? Okay, well, what's your fear? How would I get you to a 10? And they'll kind of go, well, I don't have the time, or I don't feel like I have the money, or I feel like I'm too busy, or I feel like, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not a salesperson. At least I can go in and mention that to my upline, and then they can say, they can kind of address that, somehow weave it into the conversation. And it's so crazy. You're so right, Teresa. Like you get people on the phone, and by the end of that call, they're ready to sign up because
Mm.
they heard it from somebody else. And I want you guys to point this out. Teresa's been in this how long? I'm pretty sure she knows how everything works. Okay. But she still gets that person in a message, even now as a 200K, 7 years in. Like she still does this because it's what works. It has nothing to do with ego or I know what I'm doing or I don't need somebody else's help or I don't want to look silly or stupid. It's what works. And at some point, people have to, like, it has to register in all of our brains on the Zoom. Why are we reinventing the wheel? Why are we making things so hard for ourselves? And a brand new person does not know what to say yet. That's why it's so important that we make sure that they know we do, right? That's how they're going to learn, by listening to us. And then they can duplicate that same way. And I love the other thing that really stuck out to me in today's Zoom with you is you mentioned this is the way I was birthed into this business. And that's what now I do with my people. Are you guys
Mm.
hearing that? How you're bringing someone in, they don't know. A brand new person is learning every step of the way from what you do. So I want you to ask yourself, the last person you signed up and how you brought them in, did you bring them in right? Is that how you wish you were brought in? Now, if they go duplicate what you just did, is that going to get anybody anywhere? Because I think that'll be a big slap in the face for a lot of you guys. You're going to go, wow, okay, let's rewind here. And I need to do a better job of this. And you'll start to see that duplication happen on your team because I'm telling you, how I was brought in is what I do, is what I was told to do. Now that's what I tell other people to do. And of course, we tweak things to fit ourselves, but we stick with the main game plan. I mean, Thrive has a system, and if you just keep it simple and not complicate it, that I think that's the hugest thing to do. You talked a little bit, you mentioned self-development. I mean, I think it's probably, I say this all the time on Zooms, and people probably want to slap me because they hear it so much. They're like, okay, enough of that. But I totally believe with everything in me that this business is 99% mindset.
Mm.
I have watched somebody struggle, 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 be in 2, 3 years, and all of a sudden they shift their mind. The only thing that changed, the products didn't change, the comp plan didn't change, the upline didn't change. They changed. They changed the way that they were thinking. And all of a sudden, that person that could not move, that was stuck, or whatever the situation was, now they're moving again. And you attract, what you're putting out, right? You're attracting that kind of person. So if you're positive, energetic, and you're looking for the right people, those people tend to find you a lot easier when you're being the person you're looking for. So, self-development wise, what are some of the most important things you think, especially somebody brand new? Because I think brand new people, I know it was for me when I got in this industry, I had never done self-development. I was like, what are you talking about, vision boards and picking up a book and being a better human? Like, I don't know. I just work, I go to my job every day. I'm just trying to pay the bills. Like, I don't have time for this. So I think for a lot of people, they don't know where to start or what to do or really the importance of it. what are some of the most important things you think are like people need to do every day, because it has to be done every day in order to grow into the leader you want to be, the human you want to be, the mother you want to be, the wife you want to be, the daughter you want to be, like all of these things you grow into those, that because of the self development you're doing behind the scenes.
I think in the very beginning, I think the biggest thing that you can do as far as plugging in and self development is use the things at your fingertips. Get inside your cloud office and watch some of those training videos. And I say that for new people, but I also say that for people that have been in for a while, because again, you're going to find things embedded in there, and it's right at your fingertips that are there. And trust me, you're going to say, oh my gosh, I knew that 5 years ago. Like, how the flip have I not been doing that step? Or how did I forget that? And it's because you felt like you knew what you were doing already, or whatever it is that sometimes you're on this map and all of a sudden you find yourself on the wrong road. And it's just because you all of a sudden thought that shortcut was going to get you there faster, and most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time you got to get back on the road you were on to begin with. So I'm big on that. Otherwise, plugging into the opportunities that are before you, whether it's your leader, whether it's things that corporate offers, just different things like that. And one of the big things for me is, self-realization. Like, what are the things that are holding me back? Is it, I don't feel like I know about, I need to figure out what to do with people when they say no. I need to figure out what people, how to have a different mindset when this, circumstance happens or whatever. I'm really big on figuring out what my obstacle is and then finding a way around it. And so those are a lot of the areas that I go with my self development, because I'll tell you straight up, I used to take no's very personal, and it was like people didn't believe me. So I took it very personal. None of my family members thrive, like straight up. I'll tell you that I have zero support there. And that was a big deal for me. So I had to kind of maneuver my way around that, and fix my mindset that, you know what, nobody's going to tell me that my knees and hips don't hurt when I run. I ran 100 miles this past month. Nobody's going to take that from me. So that's all in your mindset. So you have to pour your cup full of the things that feed your positive mindset, because if you don't do that, and you guys can self reflect, go look at your Facebook page, because a lot of times the things that you're putting on your page are the things that are affecting, as far as your mindset goes. I know I have found that before, even with doing this, as long as I've been doing this. I find that what is going in here is what comes out here. And so you have to continue to feed the good things here. And whether it's I wake up in the morning doing it, I go to bed doing it. Like, I can't get enough of it. Like, I am hungry for it. And when you're hungry for that, your mindset, like, nothing is going to tarnish your mindset. It's just one of those things. But when you get in those modes, because we are all human, nobody is perfect, feed yourself. Just feed yourself. I don't care if it's noon. I don't care what time it is. Feed yourself. You're hungry. That means you got to feed yourself.
You know what I love that you said that's so huge, because I'm sure you get it too, but I'll get people in my inbox like, Can you recommend a book for me?" Well, I have a million books right here, and there's a million podcasts. You got to figure out what's your current thing that you need. What's the hurdle? What's the thing right now for you that you're struggling with the most? Because you can't, just like everything in business, you can't tackle it all at once, right? Well, I'm unorganized and I hate the word no, and I'm held back because I have a fear of success. Like, what's the main thing right now? And then really go hone in on that, because if you're trying to do it all at once, it's not going to stick. It's just not going to stick. And I it's the same thing with your business. I'm not going to go try to learn LinkedIn when I've never done it before during busy season when I suck at it. And right now I'm also trying to do Instagram for the first time, and then I think I'm going to go pick up TikTok too. Like, you cannot master three things at once. It's just like when people go try to do two businesses at once. Hey, wait, what's your thought on that, by the way, since I have you on? Like, I have watched people go try to do two network marketing companies, and I've never seen anyone in 10 years get to the top of two network marketing companies ever. I've never seen anyone get to the top of one if they're in two. Um, so it boggles my mind. And then my part two of that question is, what do you, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've only been in 4 years. And in that 4 years, I have lost a 200K, I've lost a few 80Ks, 40Ks, 12Ks, all the way down two other opportunities, only to find them coming back. They're trying to sign back up, get started again, biggest mistake they ever made, or they're onto their fifth or sixth company. I guess, like, what's your view on the grass is greener syndrome or the shiny new object syndrome?
I mean, we have people on our team that do too, so I would never knock that because that's what they have to do or feel like they have to do to, put food on their table or what have you. I can only speak from my own experience where all of my energy has to be focused in one area in order for it to grow and do well. And so that's just me in general. And so I'm not a multitasker like that. I can't run two different things at one time that can't collide. So I have to spend all of my time doing the one thing that I'm super passionate about. And that's just me. So, but I'll never knock anybody that's doing otherwise because they have to do and I'm not in their shoes. So I would never do that. I do feel bad when I see people leave sometimes though, because it's one of those things where like I know what they've done and I know how much potential they had, but it's one of those you can't do things for people. And I use this analogy all the time, and people are always like, "Man, I want to be a runner like you. I want to do these things." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And they're like, "I got the shoes, I got the socks, I got the whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." But you still got to get up every day and you got to put the shoes on. And you actually got to go running, right? So I can't do it for you. So there's a lot of people out there that have on our team that have tremendous teams, and they do well with that. I just personally can't do it. So, but that's just me. So, but I have seen people leave and definitely have regret. Because it's always one of those, man, if I had stayed doing what I was doing for as long as you had, think about where I would be. And that's the biggest thing that you see people with is this the people that succeed at this are the people that continue to get up and put on their shoes every day and they go out for a run. Plain and simple, end of the day. Like no matter what, doesn't matter if it's snowing or raining or windy or whatever it is, they continue to get up and do their thing every single day. And their thing is helping people. It's not chasing money. Their thing is helping people. And when you wholeheartedly believe that, there's nothing going to get in your way, because my tremendous goal is like to create an epidemic of health. And my passion is bigger than I am. So there's no way I could sleep in and not put my shoes on every day. There's just not possible, because that is me. That is me in a nutshell as far as what I do. So
I love when you said my passion is bigger than I am. And I think that's how you have to feel about this business if you want to go 200K, if you want to be a millionaire, if these things that people dream about, your passion has to be bigger than the fear, whatever fear is holding you back. Your passion has to be bigger than, all the demons in your head telling you can't do this. Like it's got to be so big that you just keep going even through the ups and downs and the failures. Okay, my last question, because right now it's bonus season and I have a lot of people on my team struggling with the comparison game. They are looking left, looking right. And, I said on my morning Zoom the other day, you guys, horses wear blinders. We've all heard that before, right? And they wear blinders. Why? Because they can't get distracted. But here's the thing, if you guys watch horse races, the horse will win by point 0.1 seconds, point 0.2 seconds. That shows you how quickly, if they weren't wearing those blinders, just 1 second of looking left or right could cost them the race. It could cost the race. And it's the same way in this business. And I think a lot of people right now are going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been here 2 years and I just saw this girl come in and go 4K and get the $4,000 bonus. Or I mean, people are really putting a lot of pressure on themselves. And when I was doing the morning Zoom, I asked how many of you are doing that right now. Everybody was like, me. I'm comparing. Any tips or advice on that?
um, I think it's a hard thing. Obviously, if you've got people on your team and you're cheering so loud because you're so happy that they're having these successes, and you're over here going, but why isn't this happening for me? Like I feel like I'm doing all the things, and first of all, understand, like, are you doing all the things? Okay, that's where that whole self-talk comes in, like, because you kind of probably feel like you're doing all the things, but maybe you're not doing the same things that person is doing. Okay, and that's like an upline thing. Okay, get your mentor and say, like, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm sending, here's all the things. I need some help, kind of thing, because I know I've had people do that to me, and I'm like, okay, cool, give me the 5 names of the people that you talked to yesterday. And then I'm like, then they got nothing. because they're really maybe not doing the things that that person, that the people that they're comparing themselves to are. But I mean, blinders is a great analogy. I used this analogy on my page a while back. We have a house in Tennessee, and there's hills there. We don't have mountains or hills in Florida. So, and I'm sitting there and I'm running up the hill, and I'm like, man, why am I having such a hard time breathing? Like, this is so hard. Like, why is it so hard? And it's because I was looking at the top of the hill. Instead of looking at the top of the hill, look at the very next step in front of you. The very next step in front of you is doing your IPs every single day. Stop looking around at the other hill. Stop looking at the cow across the road. Those are all distractions. You have to look at each and every step along the way and be proud of every single day that you've put in with your IPAs, with the people that you reached out to. And one of the biggest things somebody said to me, Letitia Regal said this to me, and she's like my level 8, if that give you guys any idea of all the uplines that I reach out to. I told her one time, I'm like, listen, I don't know what is happening. I'm stuck at this rank, whatever. And she's like, girlfriend, you used to get me on calls all the time. Like, when's the last call you got me on? And I was like, oh, okay, that hurt, but I needed it. Because it's the effort that I felt like I was putting out, but that maybe I wasn't putting as much out as I thought I was. And so those are kind of the talks sometimes that are difficult, but concentrate on each step in front of you and stop looking at what everyone else is doing. Concentrate on what you are doing, because that's where the magic happens.
I love it. And it's so hard to take that look in the mirror sometimes or to hear that from somebody, but you've got to be able to accept it and go, oh, you're right. Okay. I got to change that. Oh my gosh, Teresa, thank you so much for hopping on today and sharing the last hour with us of tips and your story. And I know I took away a ton from this, but what really for me today hit was validation of the fact that we need to be doing welcome calls. I mean, I don't know how many leaders we have to get on here every single Tuesday that are 200Ks that mention welcome calls, that mention third party credibility, that mention, doing it every day, staying consistent. It's so huge. And I hope you guys really listened today and took these like little gems, these tips in this and weaved in this whole hour because there were so many of them. And we just got paid. So congratulations, everybody. Happy payday. Don't forget, Tuesdays are a magical day. Make a payday post. I love sharing, that this business helped put groceries in my fridge or gas in my car. And you don't know who's watching that, guys. And bonus season is here. I kind of have that mental attitude. I told one of my leaders the other day, I said, I have this different attitude right now. I'm being way more aggressive than normal because it's a no. And it's just like kind of hit me. It is a no already. If I don't ask, it's a no, right? So why not just ask? If it's still a no, it was a no anyways. But what if it was a yes? Like, what if? It's crazy. Like, just mentally, how you can shift your mindset. And that's what I did. And I'm kind of being really aggressive with people where, I would add people from groups and it would take me like a month or 2 months or 3 months to really build a relationship. I'm kind of getting in there that first week. Like, I'm not usually this aggressive, but I'd love to tell you what I do. And it may not be for you, but you may know somebody who it could be for. And that's how I'm approaching it. And it's crazy how many of those people are going, well, I want to know more. Yeah, maybe it is for me. So you just don't know, guys. It's just do it, make it happen. Teresa, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're amazing. I appreciate you. If you ever need me for anything, let me know. I owe you one. Um, and thanks to all of you guys for getting on every single week, pouring into yourselves. This is self-development right here. It's a way to do that, to pour into yourselves and get the energy and the excitement and the tips you need to get out there and grow your business and see success. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate you so much, Teresa. Thank you guys. Thanks, guys. See you guys next Tuesday. Same time, same place, same link. Spread the word. My goal this year is 500. Let's get to 500 people. Bye, guys.